As we continue to explore our Talisman Tactica, I am aware of spoilers. I don't want to give away adventure cards. I don't want to give away what's in the Eagle King's treasure pile. I don't want to talk about every single spell because I want you to have that discovery. I want you to discover those aspects of the game for yourself. But there are times where we need to name certain names to be on the lookout for and understand that tactica. And in this vlog, we're going to be talking about two potent, powerful magic items from the core set. So if you've been through the game a couple of times, there's a good chance, even with the mix of cards, that you've encountered these objects. We're going to be specifically talking about them, but this serves for a bigger template for when you encounter other objects, which I'm not going to name. You've got a plan. You've got some tactica options on how to deal with them. Now, at its core, Talisman is a timed game. You have turns to level up to get your character ready to race for the crown of command. You've got the beginning of the game, mid-game, end game, and then the final run for the crown of command. Anything that can accelerate those number of turns, if you spend about 20 turns at each bracket, give or take, with the random, anything that can accelerate that is a major threat if other players have it. If you have it, you become a major threat. So you need to absolutely deal with it. We've got the Orb of Knowledge. I love the Orb of Knowledge. I hate the Orb of Knowledge. And we've got the Rune Sword. I love the Rune Sword. I hate the Rune Sword. Now, these are two powerful items because they allow you to mitigate and manage the random. In Talisman, it's random. You roll a d6, you draw cards, you don't really know what you're going to get. We have ways to control it. We have ways to influence it. On our turn, we're trying to control the random. On opposing turns, player turns, you're trying to throw the random at them. An example of throwing the random at other players, I've got ready to go a random spell. It's your turn. You've got a lot of gear, right? You're surrounded by a lot of players. I throw the random on you, assuming you don't have a counter spell or the amulet or some way to negate it. That's a 1 in 6 chance of getting toadified. That's big. You get toadified, I hit you with that random stick, all your gear drops. It's a feeding frenzy of everyone trying to grab your stats. You're just trying to move back and forth so you can turn back into your character and grab whatever stuff's left, right? You had a plan. I threw a random into that. In this case, literally a random spell, but it could be other spells. You could teleport onto a space. You could do whatever for that, controlling the random, influencing the random. The Orb of Knowledge allows you to draw 2 cards and keep the one that you want. That's insane. That allows you, for the most part, not guaranteed, to sidestep most of the crazy things. Yes, could I draw 2 bags of gold? Okay, right? We did shuffle the cards. But if I draw a bag of gold or a dragon, beginning of the game, I'm going to take that bag of gold. End game, I'll probably try to fight the dragon to level up my stats a little bit more, and I can probably handle the dragon. If I draw a magic object or an encounter, then I'm going to take the magic object. So what you see here, but even beyond that, towards the end of the game, mid-game, end game, if I'm powerful enough, if I draw a powerful magic object or a bag of gold, I'll take the bag of gold. Fritz, what? Well, I get that magic object that's powerful out of play. It goes into the discard pile right away. So even when I'm so powerful and you're like, look, I can handle anything, I don't need the orb anymore, it's a way to filter out incoming magic objects and make sure they're not in play and circulation so the other players can't get them. That orb has to go. Okay, the Rune Sword. You whack somebody with the Rune Sword, you gain a life. There's no limit to the numbers of life that you can gain. That's absolutely crazy. We just farm low-level encounters and just jack up life. What this means is I don't have to spend time healing my lives before I make the run for the Crown of Command, if I'm lower. And likewise, I have a massive cushion. I have a massive buffer, a massive stock of lives that if a couple of rolls don't go my way, through the inner planes, then I'm okay. I've got that buffer. So these things have to go. Now, you draw them. And, a lot of Talisman depends on, I should back up for a moment, depends on the group you're playing with. One group I play with is absolutely cutthroat. We play a couple of times a year. Winner gets bragging rights. Anything goes. So you draw the rune sword, you draw the orb, you're target number one. Everyone is going to try to gang up on you. Other games of Talisman, if it's casual at the club, I'll let you have your fun, right? If I can steal it from you because I happen to land on your space, I might go for it. But I'm not going to single you out and target you for that because we're not playing necessarily competitive. Yes, I'm going to try and still win, but it's a different flavor of the game. So I think at its core, though, if we play Talisman as intended, you're there to beat up on other characters. You have one of these objects. You can't take it personally. Every other character wants to now acquire these objects. They're going to try and steal them from you. They're going to try and beat on you. They're going to try and use various things. That's burning turns. So they steal it from me. Then they try to run on the other side of the board. I follow them over. Maybe I'm lucky and I have some way to move or move fast, or I have the ability to teleport. I land on you. I beat you up. I steal it from you. Someone's playing the thief. They constantly land and steal. So this back and forth, it's wasting turns. So the first strategy there is if it's a multiplayer game, let people fight for it. Maybe I just continue to go about my business and people are wasting turns trying to get this orb or trying to get this sword, and they're giving up more reasonable level ups and more reasonable power ups. Maybe that's one strategy. Or likewise, I realize, hey, I need to get rid of this. I need to remove it from the game. That's usually what I'll try to do. I will try to get the object if it crosses my path, and then I will try to get rid of it. Well, how do we get rid of it? The first is if you're playing with the multiple expansions. You could do something if you can move fast. Head into the dungeon. Dungeon's probably the most brutal in terms of encounters. Head into the dungeon, drop it deep in the dungeon. Let someone get dungeon punked and try to go in there and grab it. Is it worth it? Then get out of there. That's one possibility. Another possibility, what I try to have ready for certain objects is to have an ability to remove them from the game. One of the ways, of course, is you land on the space of the character that has the object, you thump them, you take the object, you go to the alchemist, you turn it to gold. Watch everybody immediately sad face the entire game. Another aspect would be chaining things, which we see here. Acquisition spell. Cast acquisition. Take said object, then pass it to your follower, the alchemist, or if your character, if we're playing with various expansions, right, that can convert things. Melt it down into gold. There you go. Then head to the tavern and buy a round on the rune sword. So understanding when an object is so powerful that it can control and influence the random, cutting down the game turns, it's got to go. So you need to have a choice. The first thing is you can't let the other players have it. But you have to make a choice. Do you battle trying to hold on to it, or do you just absolutely take it and remove it from the game?